Join us and discover beautiful beaches, rugged landscapes, pretty towns, desolate mountain ranges that sweep down to stunning lakes, unique architecture, history and folklore, no shamrocks, no shillelaghs, and definitely no shenanigans, just naked Ireland. Here we are visiting beautiful, beautiful Westport in the County Mayo. The true test of any place, I believe, is whether it looks good when the weather's not so kind. Tonight is one such night. It's been raining, but you judge for yourself if Westport is beautiful, even in this weather. Westport is, as the name suggests, on the west coast of Ireland. It's a very popular tourist destination, like many of the towns in the west, but given we're off season here, this is a chance to see it as many summer holiday makers don't. I think that's useful, and it's always good to see if a town has a life outside of the tourist season. Here we are now at Carrowbeg River, which flows through the town. In fact, the river was a key element in Westport's town planning. More about that in a minute. But just look at this lovely old stone bridge. It's much photographed and gives Westport some of its quaint, oldie-worldy charm. I think you'll agree. We're going to cross the bridge here and head up the street directly in front of us, which not surprisingly is called Bridge Street. You can probably see a banner hanging across the street there saying Westival on it. This advertised festival used to be called the Westport Music and Arts Festival. It changed its name to the catchier Westival in 2018, and it now happens every October, so you might want to plan your visit for that. I'm not going to talk you through every quaint pub and shop front here, you can see all that for yourselves, but suffice to say that this is a very well kept town, and it's on record as such. It's a 3-time winner of the Irish Tidy Towns competition. I think you can probably see why. Shop fronts painted up in beautiful colours. It has a population approaching 7,000 people, and why wouldn't it? Did you know, for example, that Westport, according to an Irish Times competition, is the best place in Ireland to live? So I imagine everyone viewing is probably going to think, I'd like a piece of that, and start hitting the Westport estate agent sites. Well, before you do, bear in mind that property prices will be high here, as in the rest of Ireland. Ireland's recent prosperity has meant that houses that were cheap as chips 3 decades ago are now getting impossible for young Irish people to own. That's a terrible shame, but not the subject of this film, so we'll get back on track here. People flock here from all over the world, particularly in summer, probably for some of the reasons that I've already mentioned, but also because of its close proximity to so many amazing blue flag beaches, the beautiful Connemara, and of course the Clew Bay and Achill Island, which Naked Ireland viewers will be well familiar with by now because of my series of films. Another interesting fact is that there is now, since the war in 2022, 1,241 Ukrainians living in the town. Westport has certainly done its bit there and can be very proud of its record. Now we're just passing a pub called the Porterhouse, but many of you will have seen the film I made a while back on this place with its striking red and black shopfront, Matt Malloy's pub. This is a very famous music pub owned by one of the musicians in the Chieftains, one of Ireland's most famous traditional music groups. If you'd like to see inside or learn more about it, check out my Naked Ireland video on this. You'll have noticed already that there's no shortage of pubs in this street. It's one of the things Ireland's famous for after all. But there's also a lot of restaurants. This is one of the ways in which it's fair to say Ireland's changed in the last few decades. Food culture is very much a thing now, whereas it wasn't when I was growing up. I guess it's another one of those things that came with embracing Europe. But of course, all those hungry tourists need to be fed, and some of them, like the French for example, have high standards. So hopefully we've risen to that challenge. We're now approaching the end of Bridge Street, and right at the top of the street we have this incredible looking Art Deco clock. And at the base of the clock we have one of the old Irish telephone boxes, now used to house a defibrillator. And there's the clock's associated pub. You can see from the laundrette across the street that the shop fronts here are protected. In fact, Westport is a heritage town with many Georgian buildings, and it's one of the few Irish towns to have been planned rather than just to have sprung up organically. Again, we see another nice restaurant here, this one famous for its pizza. Heading back down to the top of Bridge Street now again. And we'll take a bit of a walk down the other side of the street. Again, the colourful shop fronts are amazing. Just passing O'Malley's pub now. This might be a good time, if you're enjoying the video, to give it a like and to think about subscribing. Go on, subscribe, you know you want to, and would help the channel out a lot. And there's Matt Malloy's again on the other side of the road this time. Gelato and crepes. There had been no gelato and crepes around here back in the 70s. As I said earlier, these small towns in Ireland have food from all over the world. They're truly international in that respect, but one thing you'll probably notice if you have a meal here: in rural Ireland, still to this day, a meal is often prized as much by the quantity of food offered as by the quality. In fact, if I'm honest, quantity often trumps quality, unfortunately. It seems that a meal isn't satisfying if the helpings aren't piled high. It's something ingrained in our DNA, I think, that we must offer visitors plenty of everything. I guess it's the way our mums would have fed us. Down this little alley here now. And guess what? More restaurants and bars. We're up on Shop Street now and heading down to an area called the Octagon. Obviously so named for its shape, although it's not obvious unless you're looking at it on a map. The Octagon is another example of how this town has been planned. Westport is a little Georgian gem in that respect. As we get to the Octagon, we'll see the elegant market house, which is one of the principal features of the town when it was first conceived. You can also just now faintly see the statue of St Patrick that towers over the octagon. Originally this statue was of a guy called George Clendenning, who established the bank here back in 1826. But in 1990 the statue was replaced with one of St Patrick, switching the moneylender for the saint. I think that's probably fair enough. And so this is the octagon area of Westport. It's very picturesque, as you can see, again with its wonderful colourful buildings. And there's some really lovely shops in the town too, as I'm sure you've noticed. The yellow building is the Wyatt Hotel. And there's the market house next to it in exposed stone. So what a lovely part of the town this is. And look at this tweed and knitwear shop in front of us. I bet it's popular with the tourists. And with more bars here. And then around the corner into James Street, which will take us back down towards the Carrowbeg River. And this little pub across the street caught my attention. For its name, Blousers, as much as anything else. It looked so cosy, and I should really have gone in for a pint. Maybe next time. I can't visit all the pubs, it's as simple as that. Sometimes you've got to be disciplined in this business. You'll have noticed that all the streets we've seen have been quite wide. That's again a feature of the 18th century town planning in Westport. A lot of Irish towns have very thin streets. This is very well proportioned. And there's another hotel over there. You can imagine with the massive influx of tourists each summer, these places are important. But they seem to stay quite busy in winter too. Now here we're arriving at the river again, and another bridge parallel to the first that we saw. But wait until we get around this corner. Isn't this lovely? This is the Mall, and the river here was one of the key aspects of the Georgian town layout. You'll notice the river is built up on each side, and the roads are lined with trees. And we're just panning around now to look at St Mary's Church, all lit up and looking splendid, complete with beautiful circular stained glass window. Then back to the river again. Have you ever seen a nicer looking town than this? The bridge up ahead is the one we first stopped at, so we've come full circle. And you can see the sign there for Clifton. Don't worry, we'll be featuring that town in a future video. Please take the time now to like the video, give it the old thumbs up, and don't forget the subscribe button, very important. You don't want to miss future Naked Ireland videos, I'm sure. If you hit the bell icon, You'll get a reminder when a new video is released. I'd really appreciate your support. There's something very special about a river running through the centre of a town. And the way this is designed is exceptional. I hope you've enjoyed this wee dander around Westport. Share the film with your friends. Otherwise, I'll see you all in the next Naked Ireland video.